Hi everyone, I have something different than a diaper backpacking video. So I've got some hodgepodge of a way of setting up my camera kind of propped up that you can see my Erin Condren 2021 planner. So I did a little custom cover in terms of the color scheme because I love turquoise and orange and white. So I picked that out. Nothing special in terms of what I've done with the first page other than including my name. And I won't go through a review of the book because everyone who's much better than I am and much more experienced at this would go through it. But I wanted to show how I kind of organized myself and how I've done this for the past few years. This isn't just a flash in the pan kind of method of planning. So what I did was I had bought some colored stickers from Erin Condren, and I've marked off all of my paydays, holidays, PD days, or otherwise where the school is closed. And, you know, a non-very fancy way of doing it, I've just put stickers down here to indicate what each of the colors represent. I've seen some people use a coil clip and one of the compliment cards and kind of have like a legend there, but I couldn't find my little coil connector clip for the life of me, so I just wrote it down there, which is fine. So I've got that. On this page, I have bought the sticker set with all of the different month stickers. It's the Erin Condren one. I don't recall which one it was. Anyways, and what I did was sectioned this out by month, and I'll skip this for just a second and take you to the page after this. This is where I first laid out all of my goals for 2021. I had identified some goals for 2020, and surprisingly, even with all this COVID stuff, I actually achieved something. So I wanted to reflect that to give me inspiration for as we move into this next year. So I just kind of marked off with some pen and some colors based on different themes, all the different things that I had achieved last year that are worth noting. And then I had made 6 categories for myself: personal, relationships, finance, health, work, and home. And I kind of color coded those in 6 different colors and wrote out over this coming year what I wanted to get done. So if I go back to that month breakout page, you'll see that much of it is completed for the first, few months, which I think is normal. It's kind of hard to see, how we're going to be planning for December at this point, especially with so many unknowns. But I've used the same color code scheme so I can see, what I need to do in each category and to help track against that. So I've got a few things listed down that I want to get done for January and for February, and even moving into March. And some of those things, like some house projects, as you'll see, I've got them colored in orange. I've kind of got those kind of mapped out because some of them are quite seasonal in the approach. So I will fill that in as, things become a bit more concrete from month to month. And then as I move into my monthly spread, not very decorated, but I used a couple of the stickers that were included in the sticker book that I had mentioned. But I tend to just list out birthdays and different things that I should get done over the month, or things to remember that I keep in the notes page. I had actually paper clipped this page last year together because I was annoyed that in the previous version, when you open the tab, it didn't go to your month layout, whereas they fixed that in this version. So that's great because that means I can use this layout. So how I think I'm going to use this is in this page here. I'm going to include some important dates to remember. In terms of goals, I'm bringing forward the goals that I had articulated in the monthly layout. Just back here. So I brought forth all my January items, and I had put them either in this section or for things that my goals were to track. I've got them down here in terms of habits, and I just kind of used the dot grid matrix to pull out a little chart. The only other thing I'm going to include on this side is just little things, and that's, gratitude or, special things that happened in the month that, were positive. I think it's important to focus on that after the year that we just had. So that's where I'm going to note those down. In terms of this page here, I have a HP sprocket, so I'll be printing out a few photos and kind of jotting down a few notes from different events over this past month, and that will be almost like a memory keeping page. And then I haven't done anything super fancy with this spread, but I just wanted to show what a typical week would look like in terms of planning for me. So I do have the vertical planner, and I categorize it in such a way that the top section would denote events that take place on a particular day. This middle section here is my to-do list, which I do on a daily basis. And I typically plan these around the different events that are happening. So some of the things I have to do, you know, say if we have a party coming up and I have a cake to make, I can plan it to do, you know, a couple days in advance to make the cake and freeze it, when to make the frosting, all that kind of thing. In this last section here, the third box, I tend to split it up between lunches and dinners, typically because I'm planning lunches for either sending the kids to school or serving at home, and then obviously dinners. And a lot of these decisions kind of take place depending on what's happening up here in the events section. Down in the bottom section, I'm trying to track my exercise and making sure that I take my vitamins. So it's kind of a health section where I'm trying to keep track of things on a certain day. On this section here, anytime I've ordered something online, I try to track what that is so that I can tick it off to make sure it's been delivered. You never know how many times you actually forget what you've ordered, and sometimes it takes a while to get here, so it's good to keep that going from week to week until it's delivered. I also set out different meal ideas, and what I'll typically do is come up with a list here, write it down, and then decide to allocate them on the day depending on what we're doing or when I'm going grocery shopping. So as you can see for next week already, if I can turn the page, I've already got a few ideas listed down, but I haven't yet mapped out what's happening that week as to what day I'm going to make what item. So all of the rest of the months will follow suit the same way. The last thing I typically do is on this last page, just before the notes page, I have this double layer spread. That's where I keep track of all of the Christmas items in terms of gifts for people. And then after the notes page, my first page that I've got going here is just a generic listing of different meal ideas, you know, kind of winter dinners and snacks that the kids seem to enjoy, as well as different lunch ideas, especially for when I'm in a rut and packing school lunches. On this side here, I've got a paper clip kind of going here with some coupons, but this is my shopping page. So yeah, I've got a running list of things that I typically get when I go to Costco, when I go shopping online at well.ca, or when I go to some of our local health food stores. Because sometimes my husband will be on the road and say, oh, you know, I'm at going to this store on my lunch break. What do you need? And I kind of draw a blank half the time. So that way I can just kind of refer to this to jog my memory. I do keep a paper clip here with my list for Costco, and in this case some coupons that I have for my next trip. So I just like having that I can grab it and go, and it typically needs to be very big because I'm shopping for a family of 5. So I need that extra separate piece of paper. On this next notes page, I haven't totally completed this yet, but we had started a garden last year in response to COVID and looking for something to do that was outside, that we could social distance. So I've mapped out the garden layout, and I just use these little sticky notes because I was trying to decide what to plant where. So that's going to be my scheme for planting the garden. On this opposite page here, I haven't got to it yet, but I will be doing a plan in terms of what seedlings we're going to have to start growing at home under the lights in order to have them ready to be transplanted in the garden once the frost is done. So I will get to that, and I think that's all I'm using the rest of my notes pages for. I do plan on using the perpetual calendar that comes with the planner in order to keep track of some passwords, and I won't explicitly write them down, but I will write down just some code words that will help trigger my memory as to what they are. So I will keep that in there along with other papers that I tend to just shove in there. So yeah, that's just a quick look at how I kind of organize myself as a mom of 3 kids, working full-time and with 3 kids in hockey. So it's typically a lot busier, but this is just my start. Hopefully it gives you some inspiration if you haven't got your planner in shape yet for the new year that comes tomorrow. So hope you have a happy new year and that you enjoyed this video. Take care.